It began on a Tuesday. Sunlight sliced through blinds, coffee brewed, toast popped, then Little Hangleton, Yorkshire. People just stopped. Mid-stride, mid-sentence, a silent sudden halt, as if a switch flipped. The world held its breath. Not just Yorkshire, Oakhaven, Oregon went quiet. A fishing village in Hokkaido, Japan, synchronized to the second. The phenomenon rippled across borders, across oceans, small towns, isolated communities, one moment bustling with life, the next utterly still. A global, creeping silence. There was no warning, no alarms, just sleep. A deep, unbreakable slumber. Postmen collapsed by garden gates, teachers slumped over desks, drivers coasted to gentle stops. Into that shared, silent void. The transition was seamless, terrifying. The world watched, in horror. News channels flickered. Static images of peaceful streets. Too peaceful. The age of the great sleep had arrived uninvited. Emergency services were the first, red lights flashing, sirens wailing. They pierced the unnatural quiet, but found only stillness. Bodies in repose everywhere, in shops, in homes, in parks, faces calm, like statues in a forgotten museum, a tableau of interrupted lives. The first responders felt a chill. They were breathing, alive, pulse steady, but lost somewhere else, far beyond reach. Doctors arrived, baffled, no toxins, no virus, just this profound universal sleep. Their instruments showed normal sleep patterns, yet no one could wake them. It defied all known medicine. News reports escalated. The global slumber, they called it. Maps on screens glowed, red dots marking affected zones. The dots multiplied, hour by hour. No nation was spared. The pattern seemed random. Panic buying started. Tinned goods, bottled water, motorways jammed solid. People fled unaffected areas. Fear was the new currency, and everyone was suddenly rich in terror. Sarah clutched her mobile. Her mum lived in Ashworth, Derbyshire. Ashworth was now a ghost town. The news confirmed it silent. No calls went through. Dead lines, just an automated, sterile voice. "The number you have dialed." Sarah felt a hollow ache, a dread that settled deep. Her world tilted, off-axis, children in unaffected schools. They asked about missing friends. Why wasn't Tom in today, or Lucy? Teachers had no real answers, only hushed tones, sad eyes. They spoke of a special sleep, but the children sensed the fear. Playgrounds felt emptier, quieter. The laughter was subdued. Pets roamed empty houses. Dogs whined at closed doors. Cats prowled silent kitchens, confused, hungry. The human world had paused, mid-sentence, mid-life, food left on tables. Televisions blaring to empty rooms. A world holding its breath. The government urged calm. "We are investigating all avenues." Their faces on screen, pale, strained. Their reassurances felt thin. Behind the podiums, the fear was visible. Trust was a casualty too. Dr. Aris Thorne, neurologist, perceptive. He worked at a London hospital. He noticed a pattern, an anomaly. Brainwaves from the sleepers. Scans showed REM sleep, dreaming, but the patterns were too similar, synchronized, across patients, across cities. This wasn't just individual sleep, it was something orchestrated, a shared silent symphony. Microphones were placed near sleepers. Faint murmurs emerged, then distinct words, phrases, the same words, from different mouths, a man in London, a woman in Tokyo, speaking in unison in their sleep, a chilling chorus. The nurses shivered, exchanged glances. This was new territory, the Crimson Tower. It pierces the sky, the whispering sands. They shift and sigh. He watches from the shadows, always, always the same phrases. A script, repeated, a narrative woven into their minds. Some spoke in English, others in their native tongue, but the meaning, the imagery, identical, a universal broadcast. The dream was a shared landscape. It wasn't just sleep, Thorne realized. It was a form of communication, or perhaps a prison. A collective, inescapable dream, their minds, once private, now linked, connected by an invisible thread. Section 5, Whispers from the Dreamscape, Deciphering the Ethereal Message. The dream was always the same, a desolate alien landscape. The sky was a bruised purple. Strange, twisted flora dotted the plains, and always the Crimson Tower, dominating the horizon, pulsing faintly. Its material was unknown, unearthly. It hummed with a silent power, a focal point, a beacon, or perhaps a warning. Figures moved within this dreamscape, shadowy, ill-defined, humanoid perhaps. Their purpose remained obscure. They built something, or searched for it. Their movements were slow, deliberate, as if enacting an ancient ritual. The sleepers were observers, helpless, forced to watch this silent play, a play with no beginning, no end, just an eternal repeating scene. Sometimes the sleepers thrashed. A low moan would escape their lips, their faces contorted, briefly, as if witnessing something terrible or something profoundly beautiful. The emotions were raw: fear, awe, confusion, despair. The dream evoked powerful responses. Teams of experts assembled, linguists, psychologists, dream analysts, trying to map the dream's geography. Section 6, A World on Edge, the global hunt for answers, international cooperation, a fragile concept, often lost in politics with suspicion. Now it was essential, non-negotiable. Data streamed between nations, scientists shared notes, compared findings. The slumber respected no borders. It was a common enemy, a shared dread. For once humanity faced one problem. Together, or so they hoped. The old rivalries felt distant, trivial. Theories bloomed. Like desert flowers after rain, wild, speculative, some desperate. Mass hysteria amplified by media, a new kind of weapon, sonic, psychic, developed in secret, unleashed by mistake or by design. An invisible war, an extraterrestrial signal perhaps, a first contact gone terribly wrong. The possibilities were endless, terrifying. Each theory carried its own weight of fear. Some prayed to any god that might listen. Churches, mosques, temples filled briefly, others rioted, looted, surrendered to chaos. The fabric of society frayed, stretched thin, trust eroded in governments, in neighbours. Who would be next to fall silent? The uncertainty was a corrosive acid, eating away at order, at hope. The world felt like it was holding its breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Dr. Thorne, however, remained focused. He and his team chased the signal, the carrier wave of the dream. It had to have a source, a point of origin. Section 7, Chasing Phantoms, the Labyrinth of Investigation. Satellites scanned the globe tirelessly. Their electronic eyes peered down, looking for anomalies, energy spikes, unusual radiation, anything out of place. The sky was stubbornly normal, blue or black. No strange signals from the void, no alien ships lurking behind the moon. The threat was not from above. This silence was deeply unsettling. The enemy was invisible, unlocatable. Deep-sea probes were deployed cautiously into the crushing blackness of the trenches. Underground sensors listened intently for tremors, for unusual vibrations. The Earth itself seemed quiet, too quiet, as if holding its own secrets. The planet offered no clues, only its vast, indifferent silence. The investigation felt like chasing ghosts, phantoms in a global machine. A young analyst, Miller at GCHQ, he stared at maps. For days, weeks, he noticed something else, a subtle link, the affected towns. They weren't random, not entirely. There was a pattern, a geological commonality, overlooked, quartz deposits, large ones, significant under every single sleeping town. Section 8, The Architects of Sleep, Unmasking the Unseen Hand. The signal wasn't from space. Nor was it a weapon from another country. It was from Earth, deep within, beneath the crust, in the mantle's fire, or deeper still. A place unknown. The quartz was the key, the conduit, focusing an unimaginable energy, a consciousness, vast, ancient. It had been there all along, sleeping, waiting beneath our feet, an ancient intelligence, stirring. Finally, not hostile, not in the human sense. Not yet, anyway. It was communicating in the only way it knew how, through dreams. Through shared experience, a planetary mind, reaching out, or perhaps pushing back against the noise, the damage, the ceaseless activity of humanity. We were ants on a sleeping giant, the dream. It was a message, a warning, or perhaps a plea about the planet, its failing health. The Crimson Tower wasn't alien. It was a symbol of our destructive progress, the whispering sands, our dying ecosystems, the shadowy figures, ourselves, unknowing. We were the virus, the sickness. And the Earth was developing a fever dream for all its inhabitants, this intelligence. It had lain dormant for millennia. Section 9, The Lingering Echo, Humanity's Uncertain Tomorrow. Then the dream began to shift. The Crimson Tower started to crumble, not violently, but dissolving, fading. The whispering sands grew still, less ominous. A new image appeared, fleetingly. Green shoots, clear water, stars, a message of change, of potential. The oppressive atmosphere lightened, a sense of release, of possibility. The broadcast was ending, or evolving. Slowly, town by town, people began to wake, a collective gasp, a shuddering breath. Eyes fluttered open, confusion reigned. They remembered the dream, vividly, the tower, the sands, the figures. It was seared into their minds, a shared memory, a common scar. The world felt different, sharper. The slumber had passed, for now, but its echo remained, potent. The world was irrevocably changed. The knowledge was undeniable, indelible. We were not alone. Not the sole masters. Our planet was alive, aware, and it had power beyond our comprehension. Governments scrambled to explain, to control.